Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xah Talk Show. Today is April 12th, 2019, and the AI singularity is coming soon. We don't know for sure. And so today I'm going to talk about Julian Assange got arrested. Uh, there's a video. You probably have seen it. You go to YouTube, it's everywhere. So he has been holed up in the Ecuador uh, embassy, without seeing sunlight for the past year. Things turned bad, and then the cops in UK went in and grabbed him and put him into a truck. So that's a sad thing. So what are we gonna talk about today? Xah Talk Show, Emacs. Oh, the fantastic Emacs Xah Talk Show. Today's date. Put it there. Press the key and. Good morning, guys. Good morning, guy. So pick a topic. This interesting about videos. When I started to do video, I was thinking, I wasn't sure what's the goal. It's like most people, vast majority of people on YouTube, for example, when they create a video channel, typically their goal is to make money. They prepare, everything is nice. Things are prepared, and they have Patreon ready, PayPal ready, and they focus on one topic. Especially, I noticed that since last year or maybe this year, maybe since 2018, there is a surge, a huge amount of people starting to do YouTubes. And I'm thinking, the implication to of that. I mean, where is society going? A lot people are doing, videos, YouTube, and I'm kind of thinking, so since 10 years ago, everyone started to have a cell phone and a camera, of course, a camera and a video camera. Um, that wasn't so before. Before, for example, in 2005, for example, we we kind of thought of that. I mean, I thought of that, and other people, of course. We thought of that, but nobody is sure that everyone is going to have a camera in their pocket. A small computer, fairly powerful, and video recording. And so, what's the implication of that? We don't know. But anyway, Apple began iPhone. Microsoft actually began it. Microsoft began some kind of a Windows tablets, and it flopped. Until Steve Jobs, the genius marketer. So he created, iPad and iPad, then iPhone, and then Google, want piece of the pie. Google started Android phone, and today we have the situation where everyone is using have a cell phone in the pocket, a fairly powerful computer in the pocket, and so hi guys, say something. And yeah, so you have a small computer, so the question is, what is the implication? We don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. And the concept of singularity, you know what the singularity means? Singularity. Wait, am I talking right? Am I still like talking? Check. Yeah, good. There's audio. Okay, the concept of singularity is that, hey, Benjamin, great to see you. So singularity is, the concept of singularity is that when the day AI became sentient, or AI become, or we really have some sort of strong AI, artificial intelligence. That day is called the singularity. Basically, that's the concept. Uh, I have been, observing humanity. As a hobby, as a hobby, and I've been, reading about all these technology advances and observing it, and trying to see what happens. But I read a lot, but even so, if you ask me what's gonna happen or will singularity come, actually, I don't know. I mean, there are many experts on that. For example, there are philosophers, there are computer scientists, there are mathematicians. They all talked about it. And robotics and AI. But we're talking about strong AI. When you talk about AI, there are, roughly you can say there are weak AI, artificial intelligence, and strong AI. Basically, weak AI is when, for example, computers, Google Alpha Zero can play Go and beat human. Okay, that's kind of weak AI. And strong AI is basically the concept when machine has human intelligence. Now AI has improved to, we have automated, driverless cars. Machines can drive cars, and we have machines can play Go, which is far more complex. Yeah, more complex than chess, and machine can beat, the world's Go champion. And but however, as far as human intelligence goes, it appears, we are quite far from it. Or sentient. It appears we are quite far from it. The other thing is that, the definition of strong AI, the definition of AI is really elusive, because when we try to define what means intelligence, we cannot. Basically, there's no solid mathematical definition of intelligence. Now, one of the way to test AI is so-called uh, what's the name of that thing? So you have you talk to a computer. Basically, I'm a human. Okay, so you have a human, and you type like online chat. You chat to another guy, but the other guy behind the screen, you don't see him. Turing test. Yes, exactly. Thank you. So there's this Turing test. Actually, how do you pronounce that? Turning or Turing? Turing, I guess. So basically, the idea is that, so I'm a human, and I chat, using text, uh, with another being. That, well, basically, it's a machine. Okay, I can ask any questions I want. Just like chat, online chat, text, text messaging. And if I'm not able to tell, the other side, is a machine, then we say that it passed Turing test. The bot, the machine passed Turing test. But even that is kind of elusive. I don't think that meaning that suppose one day, the machine passed Turing test. But even so, we do not have a machine that actually have human intelligence. So that's an interesting thing. Let's look at Turing test. Let's Wikipedia. Wikipedia is everything. Wait. How do I get so many windows? Close that. Turing test live. Okay, go back here and so Turing test. Let's see. Magnify, magnify. Yeah, but anyway, Turing. It doesn't say. So let's check Alan Turing. So Alan Turing is a gay. He's a gay, and back then when gay was illegal, so the government, and put him in prison and basically, kind of. I don't. Well, the government, put him in prison, and he eventually he ate a poison apple and killed himself. I don't remember it's forced or not. I don't no, I don't think it's forced. But anyway, he killed himself because of that. Because being gay, and it was illegal, homosexual. Yeah. So anyway, Alan Turing. How do you pronounce that? I'll just say Turing. Yeah. So anyway, so the Turing test and history, philosophical background, versions. Okay, strength, weakness, variations. Excuse me. Emotional and aesthetic intelligence, human behavior, intelligence behavior. So anyway, so there's actually quite several other tests. People, philosophers or computer scientists, or mathematicians, they created, they proposed. So there are variations, but actually, I remember reading an article that is, but it's somewhere here, or maybe another article. Basically, I read another test is that, you say that when AI has human intelligence is when a robot, can walk into any person, any, let's say, American's home and make a cup of coffee. You just, you know, so, for example, I can go to anyone's home and, I can just make a coffee, even I have never been there. But when a bot can do that, they say it's we have AI. But so AI, there's a weak AI and strong AI. Well, let's go to Xali. Well, anyway, so I kind of lost. So anyway, what's up? What's up, guys? So what topic should we talk about? I wasn't prepared here. I wasn't prepared for my videos because I don't like scripted videos. Okay, here's another topic. The thing is, yeah, I was saying, a lot of people come on to YouTube. I noticed there's a surge of, YouTubers. They usually, like 99% of them, they come to YouTube. They basically are, they do that to make money. They focus on some subject, and a lot people are apparently, talk about politics because these days politics can make you rich. For example, um, especially if you are anti-social justice, those scan, those scan. So you go on YouTube, you talk about them, and a lot of people want to watch it. But I'm not sure about the other side. Oh yeah, absolutely the other side as well. If you are, like I'm dividing U.S. and not just U.S. Basically, all the white nations, white Western people nations, United States, Canada, Australia, and much of Europe, especially Western Europe, like UK and so on. These white people, Western countries, they are they are pretty infected. It's like pretty bad. It's going downhill, because you have. Excuse me. Okay, here's the. Let me. So I'm back. So yeah, these white people countries, they are doing pretty bad. There's political stability. They start to have heavy censorship. Every day they are banning people, and there's protests, and there's violence. Yeah, so it's really it's going bad, but not so much for China or Japan. These or Islamic countries, I suppose. Because I think this has to do with language. Because before I was thinking, Chinese. There are so many countries, they speak different languages, and you know today you might not think much of it, but languages is actually a huge barrier. For example, the Western thought, they don't happen in China because China, most of them, they do not speak English. Well, some of them do, like maybe 1% actually. If we are talking about people, Chinese people in China or Taiwan who can actually understand, let's say, when they watch news on TV, American TV, it's less than 1 in 10,000. Even less, 1 in 100,000. Nah, not even that. 1 in 1 million. you know People actually do that. So language, different languages is actually truly a barrier. I mean, today we have like globalization, Twitter and social medias, we can communicate, um, and we have phones that can translate. But even that, is still, it's a language is a barrier. So in English, when trends or things happens in English speaking countries, they don't go into Russia. They don't. So this Western current situation, the social justice kind of thinking, they don't go into Asia. They don't go into Japan. Like, if like there are YouTubes, okay, you can go to YouTube. There are people, Japanese people. They ask Japanese, what do you think of feminism, and many other topics. That's hot potato in USA, for example. You ask them, the Japanese, their response is like completely off. Like, they don't understand what you're talking about. Like, what is feminism? Oh, feminism is good. It's for women, and but then you start to ask them details. Like, they have no idea what you're talking about. All these social justice concepts and things. Like cultural appropriation, men explaining this, a bunch of things. They have like jargons. So there are people, and cultural appropriation, back then, a few months ago, and it happens every constantly. Like, there are some white girl, okay, she's wearing a Chinese qipao. Let's show Sally. So guys, if you have a topic, just type it. Okay, you go to my talk show page, and type the topic, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so it's not showing here, but I won't go into it then. I didn't find the page. But anyway, cultural appropriation. So there are people on YouTube, they ask Japanese or Chinese this concept. You find it, they have no idea what you're talking about. Like, the social justice issues. So language is, a huge barrier, but before the past few years, in India, it so happens that India, English is actually their official language. One of, okay, the other one is Hindi. In India, it so happens they have like tens of languages, mutually incompatible. Hey Ronnie, I'm gonna answer that question. So India is, they have lots of languages, and but it so happens that India decided, because of the UK, imperialism, the UK was ruling India, so they decided, anyway, when India become independent, they decided that English is going to be their official language. Basically, so they grew up with English. In fact, all the technology programming, English is like almost like their official language. Hindi and others are kind of like, I mean, technically they are also official, but I think they are actually just secondary. So, well, if any Indian is watching, feel free to correct me. So, but basically, India, they use English as their language. One time I was looking, sorry, one time I was studying Chinese websites, let's say encoding. Yeah, I was doing research on what character encoding do Chinese sites use. So I found the most popular, the most popular ranked sites around the world. You go to Alexa. This website, Alexa, they rank, the top uh, 10 1,000, the top 1,000 sites by traffic. So so I did this report back in 2012. So back then, the Baidu, which is a Chinese search engine, is ranked globally number 5. QQ is ranked globally number 9. So basically, lots of the top ones is Chinese sites. But anyway, my goal is to find out what are the most popular, the big Chinese websites, what encoding do they use? Okay, and here's the result. The Baidu is using UTF-8 on the front page, and so on. This is back in 7 years ago. So anyway, you can see their ranking. I did for China websites. These are the most popular Chinese websites, and these are the most popular Chinese websites in Hong Kong and Taiwan. And Japan, Japan speaks Japanese. These are the most popular and their ranking. And South Korean website, 308 is their highest ranked website. Then I found then I looked into Indian. So it turns out Indian, they don't have their websites. Or, basically they use whatever American is using. So in USA, whatever is the top website is also the same for India. Because, English is their official language, that's just it's like their language. I think there are also websites of using Hindu, but it's kind of very small, very rare. You don't see it. I'm not sure it even ranks within 10,000. Um, so yeah, so Indian they use English. So, and here's the point. You see, the language is a barrier. Okay, so before I was thinking, when I learned that A few years ago, I learned India. Oh, they adopted English, as their official language, and I was thinking, maybe China, should do it too. Why not? Because then you just have one single language as a global language. It's kind of, I mean, from a technical, computer engineer nerd point of view, it's kind of efficient. If the whole world just uses one language, why not? So I was thinking, Chinese, because Chinese, they, the Chinese character is very complex, and since 1950s, they, Chinese people have been thinking, trying to, um, they are trying to modernize China, and one of the problem is was considered the Chinese language, the writing system is a problem. So they, at one point, they want to replace it to be Latin based, like rid of Chinese characters. Instead of you use English alphabets, kind of Romanized Chinese. But anyway, so I was thinking maybe, I was thinking about the idea. Why not just adopt English as your country's language? And when you talk about languages, there's the other issue. The garbage truck is outside. It's making a lot of noises. It's very annoying. Hold on a second. Yes, there are non-English programming languages. They are used in China. There's one, but it's not very popular. There's some popularity, but not very popular. The garbage truck making a lot of noises. It's going away. So anyway, back to the I was saying, why not adopt English? But about last year, a few months ago, half a year ago or something, I realized, I realized it's a great thing, China or other countries, it's a problem. It's a great thing that China haven't adopted English, because all the languages who speak English fluently, they are infected with the social justice thing, including India, because they are India. This is happening in India too. I don't know too much about it, but I can see, I can see that India also got into this feminism, social justice stuff. So that's when I realized actually language barrier is a good thing. We don't want to have like one language for all. The other thing is that when you talk about languages, there is always a cultural aspect to it. For example, in Canada, on the Quebec east side of Canada, they are French speaking, and there's always political fights, about that region. They want to speak French, and they don't want to be unified like one language for all. And there's constant political fight about languages. Same thing with Taiwan. In Taiwan, there's a part of Taiwan, they speak Chinese dialect that's spoken in southern China, and it's also a big political issue. So I mean, so when you talk about languages, it's not like a nerd's thought. It's just a matter of uh, efficiency. Like, why not? Let's just have a universal language. Actually, it's not like that, because there's a lot culture attached to it. So so anyway, so I was saying, um, Indian Parliament French is a shithole. uh, Hokkien, yeah, Hokkien, or yeah. So yeah, so I realized, there's, so if for example, it's, if the world adopted one language, you actually lose a lot of cultures. A lot of culture would be good. Um, so what I was saying something else before. From artificial intelligence to um, oh, I need to go back. I forgot what was I talking about. Uh, why did we start to talk about languages? Because of India, I mentioned this because of India, but why did I start to talk about English languages? I forgot. Oh yeah, YouTube. So a lot of people are making videos on YouTube. Oh yeah, so the other thing I want to say about YouTube is that yeah, they want to make money. The thing I want to say, so I'm making videos, but I always wasn't sure exactly what to make. What like I don't have a goal. I want to make money, of course, but that's not my like goal. I don't want that to be a goal. And the thing about the thing I want to say about the video is that I don't actually watch a video because watching videos is extremely time consuming. You spend hours. Maybe you read news or sometimes programming language tutorials. You watch a video, you can just watch a few and your day is gone. And as compared to writing, if you especially for learning programming languages, I prefer to read. I almost never watch any videos on programming languages. But the thing is that actually you know so reading writing is great. It's kind of efficient, but actually you lose a lot of things because it's not natural. It's great for recording history or for mathematics. You communicate complex ideas where for recording knowledge like encyclopedias and so on. But it's actually not uh, uh, natural, because the natural way is like video. Human. You talk face to face, you see all the expressions, you see all the nuances, you teach. That's a tradition. You tell a story and people learn from it. You teach apprentice. For example, I'm gonna teach Emacs or something. You learn from all the sort of nuances. And that is actually natural, because that's that's with us for thousands of years. We see, we observe, we learn, but not reading, not from reading. And I'm thinking about this is I also notice a lot of people, a lot programming tutorial website. They are commercial websites. They teach you, for example, if you want to learn Python, there are lots of websites that you pay, and they have prepared videos like lectures, course 1, 2, 3, 4. Then after watching those videos, you spend maybe 5 hours or something. Then you learn how to program Python. And I noticed actually a lot of people like that. I mean, even experienced programmers. I don't really like that myself. Yeah, but so I've been thinking, actually that's a natural way to go. So a lot of people like that. So what am I saying? I was saying, yeah. So I guess the point I'm making is that video is actually, today we have the technology for video, and video, when you can see people face to face, it's actually the more natural communication. Yeah, but the drawback is, of course, you have to spend a lot of time, but it's kind of, that it is natural. Uh, so let me read the comments. India is an aberration. No doubt it will split apart in the near future. Why? What do you mean? Interesting. China still uses ASCII for domain name. Yeah, I think the international domain name, where you can use anything other than ASCII to for the domain is I don't think it's popular. Yeah, I don't remember offhand. I've seen one such domain. Yeah, I don't remember. Uh, so if there are any non-English programming language, yeah, there is. Let me show you. So I'm gonna type Chinese. This one. A lot of people are using it, but it has not become popular to the level of being an industrial programming language. In Chinese, in China, there are lots of websites. They are equivalent to Facebook, something equivalent to Twitter, something equivalent to YouTube, and they are very big. They are I just in some cases even bigger than the Google ones. I think, I don't know for sure, but I mean, you can see from this character encoding, the Baidu is the world's ranking number five. All these are within top 100 Chinese website. They are all Chinese, they are all Chinese characters used by, because China has a lot of people. That's why it's a huge market, 1.4 billion. It's like 20% of world's population, and they are thriving. I see Chinese photos, and their cities. It's like if you just look at the photos, it's like better than New York, better than more. You see, it's like more advanced than New York or San Francisco or L.A. All the skyscrapers, like brand new skyscrapers all over, like so many. Yeah, so there is this language that's completely, in Chinese. I mean, all the keywords are Chinese. So China has all these websites. 语言公司仲裁，易为难易，简单易学. So there are, oh yeah, so there are tutorials of this language. Wait, there's a logo. Uh, so it says easy to learn. I'm trying to find a logo because I remember I have seen a logo. Let's go to Baidu. So anyway, there is this language, but it's for example, all these Chinese big websites, they are not using this. So this language has not reached the level of being industrial. It's more like considered like Visual Basic. It's designed for easy to program, easy to learn. And I know there are others. I think in Japan, and I think in other languages. I'm not sure, but I know this one. I know Chinese people who program in this language. Yeah, they have this. I never seen this, but I recall they have a logo, but I'm not seeing the logo here. Yeah, but the last time I looked at it is like 4 years ago. Yeah, this window I remember this. So that's how you program it. It's just Chinese characters. Anyway, so Finch says, oh yes, there are. Finch says QALB is one example that comes to mind. A Lisp-like Arabic script-based language. I see. And Finch says many old ones used to be Cyrillic. Oh. Language is tied with culture and identity. Yes. India, pardon my French, is a I spent some time there and keep an eye out still for geopolitical reasons. So you spent some time in India. Were you where you from? Hokkien. So that is very true. So Finch, what's your ethnicity? That's why. That is why I find Chinese characters fascinating, even if input is difficult with modern keyboards. Uh, yeah, but actually, as far as I know, you know, if you the speed is actually not slower than English because you know, like average Chinese person typing Chinese for daily chat to his family or her mom or her boyfriend girlfriend, Chinese college students, they do their chats stuff compared to English people chatting with each other. The keystrokes is actually not more because because to type one Chinese character, one Chinese character usually is, I mean, it is one word. So on average, one Chinese character is equivalent to about 5 or 6 English letters, alphabet letters. So in general, if typing Chinese and typing English is about, I think it's about the same number of keystrokes. So George says, interesting in how a Chinese programming language works. Seems like it would be hard to parse since there are usually no spaces in Chinese. No, not really. I mean, as far as parsing goes, the difficulty of parsing depends on your syntax. But Chinese language, but basically, like just consider Python. You just replace all English words by Chinese, and there you have it. It's just it's just a different Unicode. That's all. By the way, there was a Chinese version of Python language, different from this one. Now this Chinese programming language is called. If you translate this 一语言, if you translate it, it means easy language. Okay, that's what it means. But there was a Chinese version of Python, which basically is Python. Exactly the same Python, but you replace all the English keywords by Chinese characters. So last time I checked, which is 4 years ago, it wasn't. It kind of died off. Yeah. Well, maybe let's try that. See if we get Chinese Python. Yep, I think that's it. Python information in Chinese. There are some ground rules. What? Nah, it's not this. But I can show you. This one. Yep. Yep, this is Chinese. This is Python in Chinese language. Yeah, I think it's dead. Version 2.13. Let's see, translate to English. Lieutenant is a Chinese programming language based on Python translation language. Yeah, I think it's dead. Among Chinese, I mean, Chinese programmers, in many ways, like just like English programmers, we have you have elite, you have elite group, like within programming community. Okay, you have certain people who think they are better than you. This happens in every community. People compete. So in Chinese programming community, there are certain people they think they are elite, and these people, their ideas is basically following whatever the American is going, like the Unix philosophy, the Python, whatever, Python pep and whatever. So there are certain group, certain programmers, a small part of Chinese programmers, they think they are kind of the elite type, and they read English. They everything, like almost like everything they do, they prefer the English version, like because they prefer the English. So it's like they are superior. Uh, and their idea is basically I would call brainwashed. So whatever you know whatever, for example, Emacs, in America is Emacs. Emacs users are considered like elite. Like, oh, the Emacs user, oh, he uses Emacs, it's like, oh, he's a hacker. He's high above us, something like that. So this similar thing happens in China, among Chinese programmers, and these people, their ideas tends to be to follow whatever American. For example, in Chinese, when you program Python, for example, or Ruby, or any other language, there's a question like in comments. For example, in comments, I can type Chinese. In programming comments, I can type Chinese. So there is in fact, I can use some variable names or function names in Chinese. So there's a question. Sometimes Chinese they talk about. I mean, there are Chinese forums I can show you. They debate about whether should you use Chinese in function names. Well, first of all, should you use? Yeah, usually for comments, it's quite common, yeah, to see Chinese characters. Because English is not their native language. But there's a question. Should you use Chinese for function names or variable names? And typically, the answer from the elite types. What I mean by elite. For example, you go to Stack Overflow. Suppose you ask a question, then usually you'll get a bunch of elite fucks. They sit there, they tell you what to do. They tell you what should be the correct answer. Like they have a tendency to shape what answer should be. Okay, besides whatever the rules. I mean, the rules is one thing, but they tend to their answer. The philosophy or idea tend to be shaped into certain way. On Stack Overflow, for example. And if you deviate that, they vote you down. For example, I go to Stack Overflow. I ask my questions. I had asked questions, and they ban you if if you are not too polite. They ban you. They don't like your opinions. Okay, like utter stupidity. Like one day I asked about JavaScript compiler. Anyway, that's another story. So these idiots, they sit there all day. They are logged into hack to Stack Overflow or Hacker News, Reddit all day. I mean, they are like a small group. They sit there all day. They like monitor, and they they monitor. They ban people. If you ask a question, that's not what they like to see. They make it. Your question is unanswerable, or violate this rule or that, and make it, things like that. They control it. I mean, this is like a formation of power. I mean, it exists in anywhere, in any form. In companies, you have corporate, fight among, who becomes the manager, who gets a raise, and so on. And same thing in the programming groups. But anyway, so in China there are also certain people like that. They tend to be whenever they have these elite ideas, they tend to follow whatever the American types, the Unix philosophy, the like Unix, Linux, kind of thing. Okay, how long I've been going? 11 people watching. Great. So, hello from India. Hello. So let me finish reading the comments. It says, so Finch says India has three major ethno-linguistic groups and 1,000 mini languages and ethnicities. Yes, it is an artificial state created by the British. I see. And looking at current developments, it's heading for partitions within half a century at most. Okay. that seems that seems bad. I'm not sure Indians will find it, uh, may not agree. So Ben says India will soon have a bigger population in China. Yeah, China, they have like one child rule. You can only have one child because China, by tradition, usually everyone wants son. They want boys. Because guys, boys are considered the family. Girls are not. Girls, you marry the girls off. Girls belong to whoever the husband's family. So you want to, that's the traditional thinking. To continue your family, you have to have a son, and also son makes money. Girls usually not, because in agriculture countries, son can have muscle to work in the field, the rice field and so on. So they always want a son. But so if a couple, they had a baby, it's not a son, it's a girl, they're gonna have a baby again, until they have a son. So that's a traditional. I mean, this is like the old, like kind of, you can, it's old tradition. Not today. Not, I mean, I don't think people think like that. Today's generation. So anyway, that was before. So China, but China, the population is a problem. You have 1 billion people. When you have a lot of people, you really do have a problem. When American look at Chinese, they will say, oh, they are not they are inhuman. But yeah, wait until Chinese says, why don't we send you 1 billion? We sent 1 billion Chinese to USA. Let's see if what you're gonna do. You're gonna have rules because you can't have like, I mean, you can understand it just by thinking if it's your family. If you and your wife, your family, you have 5 babies, 6 babies, 7, 8 babies. How long can you sustain? You don't, where, if you are not wealthy, where does the money come from? You have to feed, your babies, people. So anyway, Chinese, there's a population issue, so they decided to have, one child policy. You can have only one child. If you have more, you must pay heavy taxes, something like that. But now, a few years ago, they reversed that because they start to see it's starting to have a problem because we don't have people, we don't have young people anymore. So they try to reverse that, but it's kind of late because the Chinese young people in China, they don't want children. Just like the Western countries, they, they are not making babies. So when these things happens about population, you see, we don't know what is the answer. We don't know. Like for example, back then, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there's the problem, the overpopulation problem is called Muthala problem. Anyone remember the name? Basically, people started to worry, what happens when you have too many people. I mean, the earth cannot sustain it. But so, there's a big war, around the globe, trying to tell people to not have, I mean, it's an issue, population overpopulation issue, and in fact this is a problem for many underdeveloped countries like Africa. They have a lot of people. They keep having children. They don't have contraceptives, and they are very extremely poor. Now, of course, there are other reasons: corruption and social structure problems to create. So there are many other problems, but still they make a lot. They don't have abortion, they don't have contraception, so a lot of people, it really does create problems. On the other hand, I mean, basically, like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, we don't know. I mean, the whole human beings, scientists, we cannot be sure. We don't know what will happen when there are more people, so it's an unknown. But now we know that, at least for the developed countries, the technology actually can advance so much to the point that we don't need to worry about population. Because you know the population rises, but meanwhile we have genetic engineered food. Almost like every crop, every potatoes, fruits, they are all genetically engineered so that you can produce 10 times more before. So that kind of, so we don't see a problem. But also, meanwhile, people started to in developed countries, people start to not want to have children, uh, and the effect of that is, actually, we don't know. It could be said that we are already seeing many of the bad effects. I would consider the millennials and social justice is one of the symptoms. We don't know. We can be no, we don't know for sure. What's causing what. So let's see. Okay, lots of comments. So let me read the comments. How long I've been going? 13 people watching. So looking for current developments. It's a so partitions. Okay, India will soon have bigger population in China. Yeah, it looks like Yeah, China's population growth has been stagnated. The population growth, yeah, has been stagnated since when, I don't remember. But India, last time I checked, is still growing, because I've been looking at these issues like since like 15 years ago. Oops, let's type English. uh, I've been studying this issue, looking at this. I worry about this population under the firmament. So here's a map. You can see, I call it the red plague. Human animals, like the Matrix movie. Human animals, in a sense, is a virus. You grow and you wipe out everything else. You wipe out the animals, insects, whatever. You destroy the ecosystem. So in a sense, it's like a virus, or some kind of a plague. So these are red plague. So China, India, and Europe. It's interesting, America, USA actually don't have that many people. I mean, Europe is much worse. You see this red plague, but in USA is good. And here is population growth by content. You see, so here is the population over the past 10,000 years. You see, it's only until 2000, year 2000. Let's see, AD. Oh, this is AD1. So this is actually, yeah, those are BC. So this is AD. So beginning in, like, starting around here, 1700. That's basically when the industrial revolution, we start to have machines. Basically, it is technology that changes society, and we are, today with Google and artificial intelligence and robotics and so on. It's a it's a big change. We are entering into some kind of new era. So you see, the population, is suddenly, just in the past 300 years, it shoot up to 6 billion. And this chart is back in 2003. I wrote this page in 2003. You see, this chart is back in 2003. Um, but anyway, today, all the industrial developed nations, we are not. The population growth is actually declining. So people begin to encourage people to make babies. Yeah, but the thing about future is that nobody can really say what will happen. Uh, so Finch says, just like Yandex and uh, Ronnie. Hi, Ronnie. Ronnie says Visual Basic for applications used inside MS Office come in localized versions. Oh, I see. Interesting. Finch says I'm Australian, but expat, digital nomad. Okay, that's good. George says typing English is all muscle memory though. Typing Chinese you have to select. No, actually, if you typing Chinese actually, yeah, it is true you have to select, but that happens only when you are typing, you are not familiar with it, such as me, for example. Uh, because okay, for example, let me type Chinese. Okay, uh, so 中文. Okay, it picks. The reason it's, for people in China, they type it, so fast. You don't have to choose, because of the statistical, the input systems, they use statistics to guess the whole sentence. So you actually don't choose one character at a time. You type the pronunciation for the whole sentence, and the whole thing shows. Hello from India. Hello, your name is in some kind of Indian script I cannot read and understand. Satish. Oh, Satish. Oracle Bone script. So let's see. Yeah, Chinese characters. So I have this page about Chinese character styles from ancient to today. So that's Oracle Bone, and this is back in 1600 BC. So we carve on Oracle on turtle shells. So these are Oracle Bone, a so-called Oracle Bone script, which is basically the first Chinese characters. Then we have Brown's, what's so-called Brown's script. The Oracle Bone script, I cannot read it. No, you basically, Chinese cannot read it. You have to study in order to read them. But starting beginning, so the Brown's inscription, Brown's script, so-called Brown's script, starting from 1600 BC to 771 BC. This you can actually read. For example, both of these thing, some of these things are very old. This cauldron is 782 BC, so it's almost like 3,000 years old. And I can understand most of it. The characters like most Chinese, you don't have to have special training, and that's quite amazing because you are literally reading 3,000 or 2,000 years old stuff. Uh, well, actually, I don't understand them, but you recognize. I mean, it doesn't. Some characters are still pretty much the same, but it doesn't take much to. I mean, it doesn't differ much from today's Chinese. For example, this is. Let me magnify. For example, this character is King. King. This is me, I think. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, these are some of the old Chinese. You can find these on Wikipedia. Like I mean, you can find them. Uh, on Wikipedia. So Satish says we have Hindawi programming languages in India, albeit for teaching purposes. It supports basic C, C++. I see. Hindawi. Uh, mentality of phoning in a manner of speaking is disgusting. Okay. Okay, let me read the comments. So many now. Quickly. I want to magnify. Can I magnify this? My eyes are getting bad. Mentality of phoning is disgusting. Finch says my aim is to learn Mandarin and Hebrew so that I can infiltrate chat forums and get a feel of the pulse of the countries. Yeah, that's what I do. Already doing that a bit with Russian. Yeah, that's a great way to know the people, what's actually happening, what the people actually say. Instead of reading, newspapers, because because usually they are either controlled or from government, fake, like you call fake news, or from activists. They want to push some idea. uh, so George says I'm unpopular at work for saying we should use American English in function names instead of Australian English. Makes sense to me since it's consistent with all the libraries we use. There's not much difference, right? I mean, I know there's some difference in some words, but for function names, I mean, does that differ that much? American English versus Australian English. So George, you from Australia? Oh yeah, from Perch, I think. So Finch says people stuck in the English-speaking part of the interweb are missing out a lot of reality. Yes, yeah, that's so true. Really, because yeah, that's so much true. Because I can read Chinese, so I get to see Chinese, China's take on the world, everything. But I don't read other language. But I mean, it is true that suppose if you speak Russian, you actually see things, you don't see, if you don't see in English only publications. It's actually so true, because the language barrier, once you dig into the other language, you see lots of things. uh, Hey Dion, telling someone they can use the language they know for function names seems stupid. Yeah, that's true. So some of these elite programmers, I mean, some of them are my acquaintance or friends on Twitter. Um, uh, you know, and many of them are kind of elite because I wallow in the Unix world, open source. I am a big Emacs user, so I'm often perceived as one of the hackers, or but on the other hand, actually my opinion is always it is non-conformal, non-conformist. I don't like those. um so yeah, so some of the Chinese, they when the question comes up whether you should use Chinese for function names, or some function names, the elite, the Chinese will say no, because because their thought, their thinking, their way of going up is like heavily influenced by English, by the Americans, or by Python community in USA. They follow the same path of the elite, among in Unix or Unix philosophy. So some of the Chinese will like cite Unix philosophy, because or Lisp. Lisp is also often considered like one of the elite. Whenever Lisp say something, oh, everyone should look up to them. Things like that. So they would recommend. I mean, there's this happened before. They recommend you should just use English. I disagree. I disagree on that because consider how many people are in China. There's 1.4 billion. Like so many, and the Chinese is advancing so fast. Because once you start to Chinese people, programmers, they start to use Chinese characters in function names. Okay, for example, once that happens, one thing leads to another, and very soon, you're gonna have Chinese. You're gonna have programming languages that's totally Chinese, invented in China. You know, I'm American. But my blood is Chinese, so I have some sympathies for Chinese. Um, so that's the thing. If you are for Chinese people, if you have the mentality, nah, everything should be English only, that opportunity doesn't come up. But they never thought of that. They don't they don't think much. Just like the elite hacker types in Western world, they don't think much. They kind of just follow whatever the pop, whatever is more difficult, whatever is considered more difficult, like a real man, programming languages, Unix and C and stuff like that. They don't actually think about issues much. Hey, informatic. So how long I've been going? I think I'm kind of like I'm doing pretty. I'm kind of losing, purpose, or kind of starting to ramble without coherence. And I maybe we'll pay Xah some copyright fees on his name. Uh, Good people here. From when? Oh, I'm kind of lost track. OTP? What's OTP? Uh, okay, I think I'm tired, and Let's get myself some drink. This is apple juice. I mean, not apple, pineapple juice. Does it say anywhere? Oh, you can see here. So I'm gonna get pineapple juice. I'm getting tired because actually I'm about to go to bed. So yeah, so, let me relax and not get uptight. And my eyes, when I get tired, my eyes start to cross. so, so this way I can actually read better. So what is OTP? Set of colors. Yeah, it's right. Forum when? Forum? Good people here. Creating a forum. I wanted to do that, but I just never got to where do I what tech do I use? When Dion says when one of us decides to be less lazy, probably. Dion says maybe we will have to pay Xah some copyright fees on his name. Oh, Xali Forum. Oh, that's great. Xali Fan Club. Uh, anti-natalists. Anti-natalists think the world should have a zero child policy. What does anti-natalist mean? Satish says little late to the convo, but I obviously disagree with Finch's neo-colonial mentality above. Okay, it's very unlikely that India will split into parts. We are united by culture, not language. Yeah, I think so. I think that's true. Yeah. You could argue it has already split. Pakistan. Oh, yes, but not in the future. India has a bright future. Satish, you must be blind to the events. Uh, okay, don't argue too much, okay, guys. Go easy. It's all just, for fun. Oh, some people, hey, Jiangqi. So some people is using this Chinese character language, E language, to make cheat programs for in a gaming community, right? Yeah. I believe the red parts refer to density, who makes sense for Europe. No, not density. Those red are just like people. Like each red dot is like no, not density. They are actually just people in this map. A red plague. Do they say plague? I think maybe it's pronounced plague. Uh, oh, Satish, you're gonna go? Okay. I think that's it for today because I'm kind of getting tired. Oh, 180. So what else? What else is new? So we began to talk about, yeah. I just started to talk random today about uh we talked about AD on Cool Stream. Um, we talk about video versus text. Text is like good for history, for recording, for technology, for condensed information. Video is kind of natural. However, video is very extremely time consuming. it would be nice if we have some kind of like the Borg. I mean, the Borg is the perfection. The Borg. Each one of us know. Like this is like a hive mind. We know. Like we don't even have to communicate. You already know what I think. I already know what you think. It's like in one entity. Now, second to that, okay, this one entity in some sense is the most efficient because because you don't have like separate individuals. You only have one. So like together as one. Okay, and okay, but however, this beehive mind violates one of the human animals' nature, that is individualism. When we lost that, like when I'm not me, when you and me are the same thing. I don't want that. You don't want that. It's like a horror. So, but anyway, so the Borg is kind of like it's supposed to be the perfection. But second to that, it would be great if we have like I can connect a pipe from my head to your head, then we communicate high speed, communication. So we don't have to talk even. We don't have to read or write because talking is actually very slow. So if we have a pipe a connection, that's very efficient. And even if we can make it wireless. But however, here's the thing, we don't understand today, even with all the AI going, we don't understand how, we don't know what is a soul. We don't know what is what is consciousness. We don't actually know that. A philosopher, some people think that the human consciousness is simply a emergent phenomenon um, when when the computing power, the computation becomes complex enough. Meaning that if your computer, I mean, is when it's too powerful, then it automatically have consciousness, like without even you have to program it. So that's some of the people say, while other these philosophers or scientists or mathematicians, they think that machine can never ever have consciousness like a human being. And my opinion of this issue is that actually, so my opinion is, will machine ever reach consciousness, or it will never reach consciousness? So what is you guys' opinion on this? So that is a question. That's an interesting question. A lot of people talk about that. And my answer to that is actually I don't know. Even though I really want to say, oh, I think I think this is going to happen or that, but actually after all these years, I think I cannot say which way it will be. Psychicism makes sense. So what is psychicism? Let's look up. Yeah, exactly. So Finch says the question is, what is consciousness? We humans are miserable at even defining that unambiguously. Exactly. We cannot even define it. Uh, Panpsychism. Elementary particles have elementary consciousness. Oh, I never heard of that. Psychotism. So let's see. Uh, so anyway, I think that's it for today because I started. I'm not focused. I'm not getting anywhere. So okay, that's it for today for the Xah Talk Show. Thank you guys for coming. Hope to see you next time. If you have comments, if you like to see what topics next, post in the comments. Okay, in the video it'll show up, or just type it here. I'll talk about next time. And I think next time, to maybe tomorrow. I forgot who asked me yesterday to talk about. Is that you, Dion? To talk about math and art. Like I have an article, mathematical algorithmic mathematical art. I want to talk about that. So maybe next day or so. So see you guys. Bye.